For my business specifically, we only work with content and we kind of provide content to people who are running the services. We don't run services ourselves. So the advantage of that is that I have a very kind of objective view. I've got clients in every single continent around the world, and they all kind of face different problems, and they're normally kind of very territory specific, even sort of network specific. So one of the things that we've always tried to do is design content for the environment that it's being sold in, rather than kind of expect people to adapt to kind of what it is that we're selling. So one of the big shifts for us that I've seen in the last sort of maybe 6 to 8 months is that a lot of service providers are looking to launch kind of DCB services. They get a lot of pressure from the telcos and the operators, not only about how their marketing flow is consistent with the product that they're offering at the end, but also that that content is something that's quality, it's high quality, it's offering value to the consumer, and offering something like a little bit different. So, you know, if you're a service provider, the operator will say, well, how are you going to stand out from the crowd? Why is somebody going to go to your service if I'm offering billing to it and I already have 10 other services offering the same content? So what we've done, our strategy is much more about aggregating producers, like very specialist, normally quite niche, boutique producers that are very good and specialise in one particular area. So because our client base is international, you know, we'll have somebody on, you know, great network, 4G network or whatever. You can stream long form videos. In fact, that's what they want. And then sort of you go somewhere like some of the African territories, you know, it's got to be kind of short form. It's got to be very kind of like compressed. And it's managing finding a way to manage the differences in terms of the requirement from, you know, this might be the same piece of content. So we have a lot of geo-specific libraries as well, where it's language specific. Also, we see that kind of content that is relevant to that particular territory. So some territories might not like sort of kids edutainment, for example, for certain reasons, and they prefer it to be something else, and it's kind of working a portfolio that would meet all of those kind of international requirements. So for us, I think the big thing that we've seen is that quality is now sort of really coming back into play. So before, where the emphasis was very much in terms of budgetary, I think, and time, you know, and resources, was very much on the traffic side, so the acquisition side of making your product work. It feels now that there's much more emphasis on kind of how you retain that customer, how you build a relationship with that customer by offering them good value and offering them kind of not only good quality as in like HD or good quality content, but content that's different, that's interesting, that's engaging, that's offering something that maybe you can't get on sort of, you know, YouTube or you know, all of the other kind of video channels that are coming into play. So that's really positive, because I must admit, when I was sort of back in the sort of like mid-noughties, late noughties, where traffic was very much kind of the whole focus, we would get calls from clients where they're going like, we need content for our new product. Basically, we've got the billing in place, we've got the traffic, we've got no money left for content, so can you give us something really cheap? And in fairness to some of these guys, they would say, look, we've done A/B testing and we've kind of swapped with quality content out with cheaper content, and we don't see any difference, kind of thing. And again, I think it was because in those days the model was very much, you know, sort of 80% of the revenue, 60 to 80% of the revenues on acquisition, traffic purchasing, and churn, basically. You know, they're just constantly getting new customers rather than retaining the old ones. But for me, as a kind of business owner, it would seem to me that you have a bigger profit margin if you're retaining the customers who've already bought something from you and are interested in what you had to sell, rather than constantly trying to convince new people. So yeah, so I mean, even at World Congress, it's kind of, I've seen a real kind of positive upturn. A lot of my clients run DCB services. We also work in OTT, via SVOD, TVOD. But on the DCB side, I'm seeing a great positivity in that I think there's kind of more alignment between the service providers and the operators, and they're not seeing the operators so much as a hindrance in terms of like, you know, well, we want that photo over there and all of that, but actually agreeing, yes, your marketing flow should line up with what it is that you're selling. You should be marketing what you're selling. So, you know, I'm 100% behind the operators in that, in terms of like the more that we cheat customers or, you know, kind of lure them into kind of bad subscription services or things like that, you're just kind of making the industry worse. So I'm all for it. So yeah.